All righty, well, let's get into it here. We got the RDN Roller Show back. Got Anth over there on the East Coast as always. Do not know where he's at. I think that's a locker room at Narch. So,
Yeah,
Anth, how's it going?
not too bad. Just chilling in Dahmer's basement as per usual. Just got up to the rink. Excited to jump back on the pod here. We got a lot of good topics today, so we've been fiending to do this. So
Yeah. No
excited to go.
guest today, no guest, but we're gonna have a couple cool guests in the next 3, 4 episodes that we're gonna be releasing. I think we'll probably release 2 more in February that we have planned so far. But yeah, we're gonna now that Roller's back, more consistent action. We'll see. Probably try to do about 2 to 3 pods a month. Obviously, it's hard having a full-time jobs on both ends, so we're gonna figure it out and we're gonna bring that content for you guys though. But you're at Narch Winners. I mean, basically like a month ago, almost seems like. But I know you're working. You're doing playing. How was everything?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, and before we get into that,
Yeah,
how you've added to like your pro team lists of all the teams you played on.
I knew,
So
I knew,
now,
I knew
what are
you were
you
gonna
at?
say
You've
that.
almost you're a suitcase and roller, right?
Yeah, I am the definition of a suitcase and roller. I think it's because I'm just like older too, right? So like I just had more time in the scene, maybe. I don't know. But I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it was gonna come up here. But to going back to Narch, like it was cool. Like I didn't get to go to Narch Winners last year. So I always love going to Narch Winners because it really does kick off the year. It was a lot playing two divisions, trying to do as much as I can with the RDN stuff and then working for Narch as well. So it wound up being a whole thing. My Airbnb experience was interesting. I was sending you some videos of it. It was super weird.
Yeah.
I
So
did
weren't you in somebody's like house, but you only had like a room in the house and you had to like
yeah,
enter a code to go into
yeah,
your room?
exactly. So it was a shared space, which I didn't know, but basically, long story short, I had another place, and the
You
lady's like,
didn't
"Hey,
see on the Airbnb thing, like usually
well,
it tells you private room or
it
what?
it does." But I originally had my own space, and then apparently the person who was staying there extended their stay, so I guess they got like first dibs on it. So she switched me to a new place like a day before, and I was like, at this point, I'm just gonna roll with it. It wasn't bad. Like the room was nice. Like a bunch of the guys I was showing, they were cracking up. But I was next to the kitchen, and like whoever was staying there kept like making stir fry at like 1 a.m. So like I'd be trying to sleep because I'm getting up like 6 a.m. to go work the tourney, and like smelling like onions and garlic, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like I messaged the lady, I was like, are there other people here? I had no clue, right? It was super interesting. There was never lights on in the house. It was like really weird spot, but it was an HB. Like it was nice to be close to the rink and stuff. But the tournament overall actually wound up running really smoothly as far as like the moisture and stuff goes. They've had issues with that in the past. We only had like one little delay, but it was only like 30 minutes. So it actually didn't, those guys were busting their ass at the rink to get that place dry. So it wasn't until like the last day that we really had like any kind of issues with that. But overall, the pro division gave us a great final as per usual. We were able to get that stream. The women's final was really awesome as well. We streamed that. So overall, like of those two top divisions, a lot of good competitive hockey. As you mentioned, I skated with the Skittles. So first time playing with them and really cool dudes. They were really nice to me, treated me well, always offering to bring stuff to the rink and, food, drinks, whatever it was. So I did appreciate that from those guys. And then got to do some things I like doing in Cali. So eat some good food, and that was pretty much it. But it was overall just a good feeling and last one before the kid comes. So
There we
uh,
go. Big roller dad coming here.
yeah, so it was good to like get that out of the way. I think Kimmy was like, go do it, like get it out of your system before this kid comes. So
Absolutely.
overall pretty awesome.
It's unreal to hear. Well, hold on. Before we get into the whole entire Narch,
Yeah.
I don't want to pause in the middle of Narch, but if people haven't noticed, Vio's army, link in our bio, GoFundMe, or you can support him through buying clothes and stuff. So all proceeds do go to him. We're gonna get into Vio right after this, a little Narch talk, and kind of go over, I'm sure you guys saw the posts and everything. So, but we'll give a little more description for the people that might not know.
Yeah, and playing for VO in 30s at Narch was like now is like thinking about it in like hindsight super special because he had told us that 30s was like one of the one divisions he wanted to win. So winning as the Roadrunners, right? We were hockey mutt Roadrunners, whatever you want to call it, but winning for him getting to have that trophy, bring that home, and like have that, is feels so much more special now. Like
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. 30 and over, that is kind of like a wagon division. There's a lot of time. I mean, a lot of pro guys are now over 30s.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people playing in there, still playing 30s. Yeah, it's a good division, but you guys, I, I'm not surprised. I guess I am surprised you guys won, just because it's kind of
yeah,
like a thrown together team from the East Coast, had you, Marker, Jackson.
yeah,
But then you added a couple guys from Cali, and I,
yeah,
I was like, oh, they'll probably compete, a good team, but you guys fucking won, and that was sick.
yeah. I mean, the team we played, Buzz had the Noack brothers on there. They had Ollinger. Like they had a really good
Yeah.
squad. I think like it was one of those things where we kind of like we were thrown together like last minute, but it actually wound up working. Like we had a bunch of guys from California, like Eric Rivas, Eric Torres, like a bunch of random people from all over to come together, and we put together the team. And then Stavi was just like he was awesome. Got to
Stavi.
give him credit. He played sick in the semifinal game where we played the Golden Knights Academy team, and they had a couple of the Pure Maple Pro guys on there. They had Hammond, so they had a good team too. It was weird though, just because like of the scheduling and stuff, where round robin was like a like mishmash of like just like some teams we played a game with three guys like the one game,
Yeah.
right? Like and but once it got to the playoffs, everybody was pretty loaded. So it was definitely it's a battle of a division, man. I feel like I took more wear and tear in that division than I did like playing pro. So
Yeah.
but yeah, but there was a lot of good. I mean, honestly, like one of the things that you never really get to see when you're just playing and you're actually when you're running the tournament, you get to see a lot of the youth divisions too, and how like pumped these kids are and the parents, and how many we did a couple just like random live streams jumping in on a couple like 14U games and things like that, and crowds going nuts. A lot of people were watching too, which was cool. I think that's the beauty of Irvine is like you have Casey and Corey next to each other. You can kind of toggle between ranks. So if
Yeah.
there's a game, you could run over real quick, go watch that overtime and stuff like that. So a lot of good youth hockey there too. And I was super surprised at some of these kids. There was like I want to say a 10-year-old playing in like 14U, and the kid was disgusting and got like MVP. Like
That's
he
sick.
was on Eton's team, on the Dangle Dojo team. I forget his
Go
name.
figure.
Yeah, he was gross though, like and tearing it up in like a couple age groups older than him. So again, overall just good vibe of the tournament. So Lionel was awesome. He was like
Lionel.
he was taking like a lot of pictures and videos of me. I was like, dude, get me off the camera. Like, I don't want to be on camera. I'm like 6 in the morning. He's got like the camera in my face, but he's awesome, dude. He loves roller hockey too. Like you could just tell his passion for the sport's unmatched. So
Yeah, I think a lot of those people probably stay at the rink because they don't want to lose their parking spot. The place I
that
would say like
valid too.
might be the smallest parking lot for how many people go there.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
tough.
it is. But is what it is. What are you gonna do? It's California, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Um, but to your point with the youth divisions, I think like when I was growing up, obviously, like I'm not gonna, I think a lot of kids like 16s, like 18s do, but 16s and 14s kind of don't really pay attention to pro, to be honest, like because they're just like kind of more just in like what's going on with them and stuff.
100%.
Because I didn't start, I don't think, paying attention to pro until like 18. I was like, oh, like that's cool, like, but I was just so interested, like in our division and like a year older. I'm a 91, so I was interested in like, oh, like the 90s, the 91s, the 92s, the 89s and stuff. And then when you started seeing those guys play pro, that's when you kind of started pay attention. You're like, oh, like this is pro. So
Yeah.
um, it is different, but the youth, like, and the parents, like, they're so hard into it. And whenever I worked for State Wars, I would always try to catch like the youth games, like particular 16s and 14s, because that's when you see like players break out. Like that's when you're like, okay, this kid's gonna be filthy, and they're actually throwing some like filthy moves. You'll see like 10 and under, 12 and under, and 8 and unders do that too. Like that kid from on the snipers, and is it like Nash? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I forget his name. I think it's his first name, right? Is Nash something?
Yeah, Nash something plays for the
Yeah, he's
snipers.
good.
He's disgusting. He
Yeah, he's
scores so
good.
many goals. But yeah, so that's kind of like it's fun to watch that at that youth level because you see like, oh, this muted myself. This kid has like, potential and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's I love watching the youth. Just
and 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 to the parents too, like a lot of these parents are just like managers of the team, right? Making sure they
and they're
do.
crazy as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes it
Yeah.
even funner to watch. Like,
Yeah. They're like so into it. Like you have the
yeah,
mom coming up with like these clipboards and rosters and
Can
art.
imagine what you're gonna be like in like 8 years. Jesus
Oh man,
Christ.
dude, I was looking at it. There's like even dude, this is just crazy in general. Even at the rink, like there was a bunch of people I spoke with, like all having kids this year, right? Just
Dude,
like
everyone has a kid. Like
it's crazy.
we're at that age, you
2024 is
know?
nuts. It's like, but like, I was talking to like Steve, like all these guys having kids. I'm like, oh, this is like wild that everyone's having like these 2024 kids. So watch out in like 10 years, man. That 2024 birth year. I'm predicting it now. We'll follow up in 10 years from now. It's gonna be
I
a huge
mean,
year.
every player on my team, like Townsy,
Yeah,
Joy,
right.
like Piz, all of them have kids around this age. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Dude,
so
the dogs are gonna be nasty. The little pups, they're gonna be
yeah, we got the
nasty.
pup, the demon pups rolling. Well, yeah, Narch, I think it's Narch sets off the Winter Nationals role, just sets off roller for the year, kind of like, the vibe and everything. And then we slowly start getting into it with different events. And then I think, truly April is when you see it start picking up a hardcore because a lot of more now ice players are going to start playing and stuff. So, it is the start of the year. But Ant, I want you to in particular kind of get into the GoFundMe for Vio and,
Yeah,
the Vio's Army kind of you don't have to like
yeah.
can break down everything, but yeah. So if you kind of want to inform people what it's about and everything and what happened to Vio and how he's doing.
Yeah, so Vio is doing better, which is the positive thing out of it all, right? At the end of the day, the community is showing its support and its strength. I think, like we talked about it, like watching that GoFundMe just climb, climb,
It's
climb.
so cool.
And yeah, and Vio obviously was sick and obviously doing a lot better now too. Watching not just guys from like the Roadrunners community, but I have guys at my rink who played for Vio when they were in like 8U who really aren't in the tournament scene anymore. They've bought hoodies and things like that. So there's a few ways to support. You can go and buy apparel from the link. Obviously, you mentioned it in our bio, or you could go to the GoFundMe and you could donate that way as well. I mean, I saw some serious donations in there, which is just great because he's a guy who's been around the sport for as long as I remember, right? Growing up playing. And not only that, he dedicates a lot of time. Like that guy was showing up at the rink the same time I was pretty much every day and leaving pretty much the same time I was every day too. So you're talking like 10, 12 hours dedicated to the rink. Whether it's coaching, whether it's, getting his forms and registration into. He's a guy who you want to see you want to go talk to at the rink, you want to see at the rink and, sit down, chat with them for 5 minutes. So it's just great seeing the community really, really support this cause. And, it's sad, obviously. It's like one of those things where when you heard it and we talked about it, it's like, fuck, man, like that blows. And
Yeah.
now that you're doing better, like you're feeling so much better about the situation. But, obviously, if you haven't yet, please support the cause. Vio's Army is going to be great for not only him, his family, everybody surrounding him. So obviously, just go and support it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, he's like showing up 6:30, 7 a.m. to coach teams. Doesn't leave probably till 12, AM coaching teams, and he's at every event during the summer. He's all
Yeah.
over the place, and I think everybody knows in the roller hockey. There's not a lot of money in roller hockey at all. And it's not like these
Yeah.
guys are being paid, coaches are being paid. Most of it's coming out of like their own pocket and fundraising and doing it their own way. So it's somebody that like you said, is very heavily involved in the roller hockey community that is always giving back. And I think, people don't realize how much coaches give just to, their time and effort. And, they could have a totally different life and do what they, something else, but they decided to give back. And I think, it's huge. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you haven't, like Ann said, support, repost anything like that. It's huge and it just gets more eyes on it. So,
Yeah, and
yeah,
like looking at it, I mean the goal is to get to 50,000. We're at 47,120, so right there.
yeah,
And that was what within 2 weeks. So because of his disease, it's Legionnaire's disease, so it is a serious thing. So obviously, all the support, money aside, like just the support of, maybe just reaching out, talking, finding out more information, seeing how you could help in other ways too. Any kind of support helps, right? If you don't have the money, that's fine, but doing whatever you can to help support the cause is obviously going to be huge for the for him, and it's great for our community as well, kind of bringing everyone together.
absolutely. Alrighty. Well, let's get on to the next topic. Kind of wanted to want to talk wheels. I know that's weird, but we made a post about a week ago. It was like Wheel and Wednesday or whatever. Just like all different types of wheels that are out now. And I kind of like truly believe now in roller hockey, the wheel game's never been better. A lot of people are like, no, and they started like listing all these different ones. Like, dude, technology's gotten so much better. These wheels have gotten stronger. These wheels have gotten way better. The wheel game's better than it's ever been.
Without question.
Um, yeah. And you just have so many different options, you get from Connex to La Beta to the new Concord wheels to the Champion wheels, so all these different ones, rink rats and stuff. So I think it's really cool, like all these different options. They all have their different like grip and feel. I know Connex has a different type of new wheel coming out that I like. Is like the Connex Comet. So I'm gonna go into on two different wheels, okay? Just because I've
Yeah.
used these wheels in the last 2 weeks, and so is another player on my team, Phelps. We were kind of just like talking about him. So, first I got two Connex wheels, not the Tashions, the Pulsars, the pink ones,
Yep. Yep.
and then they had these Connex Comets, and I think they're a sick looking wheel too. So picked them up from Hockey Monkey, hit up Boyo. I was like, Boyo, what's up with the wheels? These are sick, And he's like, yeah, we kind of started selling them. I think it was out of Irvine. During Winternationals, and just kind of gave the background on like the wheel and stuff. And I think it's price point right around the Pulsar wheel.
Yeah.
So I used them for like 2 weeks, did great and everything. Phelps didn't have wheels, and I just got some wheels. Rink Rat saw that post. Rink Rat's like, yo, try these new ones out. So Rink Rat sent us some wheels.
Oh,
I was like,
nice.
all right, we'll try them. So I gave Phelps the Connex wheels, and Phelps used them for the 4 games. Phelps always used Connex wheels, so it's not like he doesn't. And
Yeah.
Phelps, he thought those new Connex Comets were, unreal, did great and everything. So I thought that was pretty sick. Rink Rats, I think rink rats are sick. They're different feel than like a Connex or a La Beta, and I've noticed a La Beta I get like a lot more grip on it than
Right.
others. Certain wheels last longer. Like I love Connex because I feel like those last like super long as well too.
Yeah.
But rink rat has this different feel, which I absolutely love. It was definitely a different feel than a Connex wheel and a La Beta wheel, but it was I just think.
Do you have tricksters or
The True Identities, the new ones.
try
And
identity?
I
The
just
new
think
yeah,
like
yeah.
from Lebeda to Connex to like you can't go wrong with wheels right now, Like they're all like just like so good. Obviously they all look clean. They're just I don't know. Wheels are just like the best right now than they've ever been.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like spoiled right now with the wheel game with how many different ones. Now you look at Champion coming out. There's a couple ones in Europe, and then you have Concord as well too.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a what's funny is you know, I was looking at the post that we put up, right? And like going back and looking at it, what was your like favorite wheel from back in the day? Like I was a Mr. Sticky guy.
Yeah,
Like I
Mr.
always
Sticky, I think was my favorite wheel.
I still
100%
love
like
those wheels back in the day.
yeah, like growing up, I think Mr. Sticky was for sure like my
Like
favorite wheel. It was just
Red
because
Star, like some
yeah,
OG
well the
wheels
Mr.
in there.
Stickies, they had the red ones and then I think it
Yeah.
was like the yellow ones, I want to
Yeah.
say.
I think it
And
was
I
yellow or
loved
orange. Yeah, one or the two. They
yeah.
re-released them like not too long ago, like a couple years ago or something. I remember, but
Yeah,
uh,
the red ones were the best I liked. And then when I would say like I loved the Lebeda Addictions. Those
yeah,
were like really huge when I was
classic
growing up. And Rink Rat Splits, used those a lot too.
for sec.
I'm trying to think like what other I knew like people used Red Star. I never really used Red Star too much.
Yeah, I think they just came like on. I think it was the Nike skate came with Red Star because they used to
I
have like the
think Red
red.
Star was a chassis though,
Yeah, it
wasn't
had
it? Like
chassis on there too. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
But yeah, wheels, you do like I remember back in the day, like Mr. Stickies were just what I did because I remember playing hockey in North Carolina and one of the rinks was a wooden rink. So there's Mr. Stickies was
dude,
just like
the best.
clutch, dude,
Dude, they were
clutch.
sick. Well, like,
Um,
but so like now, kind of like changing the idea a little bit. Like, with the new wheels out on the market, you have the Stomat one that just came out a couple weeks ago. I do have some information on that. You have the Concord, the Dussault, which I believe is a French wheel, right?
um,
Um,
yes, no,
yeah.
I think it's a wheel from Spain. I want to say.
Okay.
I can
Gotcha.
I can double check, but yes.
Yeah. And then you have the new champion, which, give credit to champion. They went through some struggles in the beginning with like figuring out the wheel game, but it looks like they're releasing a new wheel. And I've had a couple guys on the East Coast that have tried it out and said it's like night and day compared to like the original release of their wheels. But the still mat wheel, I wanted to like kind of talk about that real quick. With the still mat wheel, from what I understand, it's really going to be for like the Czech national teams. I don't know if it's going to go full retail yet. This is the information that I got a couple days ago, actually, from someone pretty close to it. So I'm not sure if it's eventually, there you go, Stanley. I'm not sure if it's eventually going to go like retail, but I know
Who
that they're
told you
really,
this information, Ants?
can I drop names? I could, Hosa, my boy
Yeah,
Hosa.
dude. Why would you drop
Yeah. All
names,
right.
dude?
No,
It's the
all right.
Roller Dad
Hosa,
News Pod, the biggest roller hockey podcast in the world, buddy.
my bad. I forgot. Yeah, Hosa told me that a lot of the Czech guys are trying them out now. So,
Yeah.
I assume it's going to be a wheel kind of designed for the still mat floor to perform best on, just like they make their own pucks, right? That performs best on the still mat floor. So, going to be interesting because we're getting a still mat at our rink here. So, I'd be interested to see, maybe snagging a set and seeing how they feel. But obviously one of the big ones that came out over the summer, and we did the interview with Rob on it's the pink wheels from Lebeda as well.
There's not out though yet. Still,
Yeah, not out yet. They're still like in the R&D phase. I think, just from like, experience that Rob's had in the past, like he just wants to nail it. He doesn't want there to be any issues when it comes, to retail. So I think they're really just taking their time. There's no rush. There's a ton of guys skating on it. When I was out there at Narch, there were kids, men silver guys, 40 plus guys. A lot of people are skating on the wheel. So I think he just wants to nail it. So when they do release it, because remember, it's got a little different of a technology with the spacer on the outside. There's a lot of things moving parts going on there. I think they just want to nail it. So that's another one that's going to be, an up and coming wheel on the market, even though Lebeda's, been around forever. But like you said, it's all preference. Like you like the
yeah,
identities. You never skated on rink wrap before and you put them on and you like them.
yeah.
So
Like I never skated on rink rat. And I'm not the best hockey player in the world.
you
But
grind, dude. You're like a
grind.
Brad Marchand out there, I heard.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to switch from, when you're bored with playing goalie, you just want to do something
Dude,
else.
you're telling
Um,
me.
so yeah, no, I like the rink rats. I use Connex a lot. That's always kind of like what I've used. And Phelps was like, we're about to go into our games this over the weekend, and his wheels look like they're dead. And he's like, dude,
Yeah,
I need new wheels so bad. And I had those Connexes. I was like, dude, I'm trying these because I just wanted to see what these were like. Gave it to him, and he's like, he loved them. I mean, he's a
yeah,
Connex guy. He's played for
yeah.
Connex, so he loves those wheels.
He
But the new wheels in particular, he liked, so which was
Phelps, he seems like a guy that could like show up to like one of your Pie Hog games with like outdoor wheels, and he'd be like, "Yeah, that's all right. Like I'll just play." You know what I mean? He just seems like
that's
go
dude,
with the
that's
flow
Townsy.
type of guy.
That's what
Oh,
Townsy
Townsend's a
does.
hundred. You handed him a stick that he'd never used before, and he went out and had like two with it. Like he's definitely that dude. That he's a mutant with
He's a
that kind of stuff.
specimen,
But
dude.
yeah, he is. But yeah, I mean, with the wheel market, I mean, there's so many different choices. I think, like you said, what it comes down to is ultimately what you feel is best. Do you want something that has a little more grip? Do you want something that has a little more speed? I've been skating on the new Lebedas for quite some time now. I tried the Concord wheels out at Narch and tried them a little bit back here as well. They have a really good spin and rotation to it because it's got that metal hub. So that's another, like, I guess it's an older technology they're kind of trying to bring back to life. But that's another player that's on the market. So there's a lot of options for kids now. So it's going to make it competitive, but at the end of the day, you're always going to have something that you're going to like, which is awesome because you could be, like just like guys have different hollows in ice hockey, roller guys have different wheels that they like.
Yeah, you always have a preference to, what you like in particular and everything. So yeah, like I said, can't go wrong with wheels right now. I think every
Yeah,
wheel is pretty
way
awesome. It's
better.
just yeah, but everyone has a preference, everyone in
Yeah,
particular. All right, well, kind of one other thing I want to get into, not one other. We have a couple other things we're gonna get into, but Team USA, I know we've been releasing some information about USARs. I know we've had a couple new faces in coaching and stuff. So first, let's go over the new coaching staff, I guess you could say, or just the people involved in Team USA, which this is just other than like double IHF because we don't have that in roller anymore. USAR's moving forward is the primary Team USA of USA.
Yep.
And with that, you're going to have to start building your coaching staff and building your program and different things like that. I know we released a video, or not a video, but a podcast with Charlie, not Charlie,
Yep.
Charlie,
Charlie.
Charlie
Charlie.
Cigarillo. And we're talking just about USA, USA hockey and going forward in the future and everything. So I wanted to go over the coaches first,
Yeah.
it's and then we'll get into some fun talk I wanted to talk about before we post it. So Team USA coaches, returning from last year, Tim McManus, head coach, Greg Thompson, assistant coach, and then Dan Maxwell will be the assistant coach as well too. And then now for your senior women's, you're going to have Shane Arsenault, which I think is a huge pickup for a coach for them. He already coaches the Ringster team, so that is huge. Lisa Zuba as assistant coach, and Celeste, I'm going to mess her last name up, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
Loyeso?
Close enough. Yeah.
Sorry, Celeste.
Loyosa.
My
Yeah.
bad.
It's close.
That's a great senior women's coaching staff as well,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
From head to toe. I mean, you got experience in there, and then Shane Arsenault, experience with coaching coaching the women's team. And then Celeste, has been playing Team USA for how long. So, great coaching staff. And then you get the junior men's. I love this junior men's coaching staff. I think this is a strong coaching staff for the junior men's. With the senior men's, yeah, Tim and Greg, 1-2 combo, unbelievable. That is something where, they've been coaching for that team for the last, 3, 4, as head coach and assistant coach, 4 years, I think. And, just great success. But now, with junior men's, you're going to have Darren Goodwin, head coach. You're going to have Dan Maxwell, assistant coach, and you're also going to have Vio as an assistant coach. One thing that I do love about this junior men's is, you got California based and you got New York based. You kind of got eyes in both areas and just a feel on it. One thing that I do love about USA is, it's just, you have State Wars and Narch. It's, State Wars Narch tours, two, 3 biggest tournaments here in North America. Well, now you got 2 of the head coaches, involved in that is huge. I think it's huge for the game. I think you have eyes now at your tournament and they're going to be able to see that. So I think that's huge for Team USA and, everyone involved for recruiting wise. And hey, now if you want to get, other than, I know they're going to do different things with Team USA with camps and stuff, but hey, now if you want to get your eyes, in front of them, show out and play good at their tournaments, go to their tournaments, and I think that's huge. And I think that's good for the overall game of roller, which is huge. And then let's get into junior women's. Okay. Junior women's is also, I think, a great coaching staff as well, too. Alex Morrison, head coach. I know he's been a head coach with the junior women's for forever. Charlotte Nicholson, and then Laura Verhantra.
Great
I
Yeah,
I don't think I need, Laura's pretty much, I don't know what more I can say about Laura, one of the best hockey players in the world in women's, inline hockey. Her experience, she's played for Team USA for forever as well too. And I think a lot of women players look up to her. She is a great, a role model in that way as well too.
On and off the rink.
Exactly. And I think having all these people involved in Team USA at every single team, or the head coach on every team, you got leaders in everywhere. So I think that's huge.
What you said it earlier, which I think is cool. Like each staff has an East Coast, West Coast representation. And you literally, I really don't have much more to say about it because you literally nailed this thing. But I think one of the main agendas pretty much is to use these tournaments as a gateway into Team USA. So like you had mentioned, there's going to be camps, there's going to be skates, things like that, ID skates, things like that to get eyes on players. And I think really what you're looking at is probably, we always focus a lot on the senior men and senior women because they are the top tier at their sport. But the juniors really where you're going to see it kind of grow because it's wide open at this point with Darren being a new coach in there. Dan and Vio, Maxwell and Vio had it, last year. So they have their kind of core guys there. But having Darren now is going to be another person to throw into that mix. And then having someone like Laura, who's a new coach for the junior women, she does all those clinics and stuff like that out in California, right? So she's going to be someone who's boots on the ground, heavily involved in the recruiting aspect for Team USA. And now that it's like I think what they're really trying to follow is the U.S. National Development Program for ice hockey, kind of the same thing where you're identifying players early and only just identifying them early, keeping them in the system, right? So it's pretty nice that they're going to have some new faces in there, right? And even like adding Dan Maxwell to the senior coach, right? That's another set of eyes in California where, obviously at the pro level for the senior men, you're seeing a lot of these guys in all the tournaments, right? And the ones that are playing ice hockey, that they're competing at their highest level in ice hockey or at some of the highest levels in ice hockey anyway. So it's a great coaching staff. As far as like, people maybe to look out for, I would say like, for the men's side of things, you had a couple guys from the last tournament at the World Skate Games. Guys like Del Morte had an unreal tournament. Both the Moonies played unbelievable as well to add into that mix. A couple younger faces as well. Joey, D has played a couple tournaments now, but he's someone who's still new to the program and things like that. And then on the senior women's side, I think one of the biggest things is having Shane Arsenal there. I played, being played for him with the Skittles and everything like that. Like he's someone who's super direct and super to the point, but he's also a no BS type of guy. I think he's truly going to bridge that gap from some of those girls who haven't been playing in the senior women's team to now coming back and playing for that senior women's squad. So I think he's going to be a huge add because he's very straight and to the point, no BS type of guy. If you want to play, you're going to play. And if you're going to try hard and you're going to give it your all, you're going to see your minutes and everything like that. So I think he's a good, like firm but fair type of coach for that team.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. Give me 1 second. I need to do something for our for
Go for it. Technical difficulty. We don't have Yams here, our CTO.
all right.
You sending a new one.
Give me 1 second. Boom, we're ready to go. All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. We had the wrong payment information on our Zoom account, so we just had to change that. So this show is sponsored by Wells Fargo, is presented by Wells Fargo. If you need any banking or anything, Wells Fargo is awesome. Just say, hey, Roller Dad News sent you guys. So
yeah.
this
they'll definitely
by Roller Dad News, but we're back in action. Apologize for it. But Team USA, I wanted to, like you were talking about Della Morte, players that kind of have made a name for themselves with that in particular. I wanted to hear, who would you like to see on Team USA this year? Maybe that wasn't on the last World Games, the roster.
Yeah, so the last like World Skate Games was a little different because when we went, it was in September, which is unlike most World Game events, right? This year it's going to be in September again, right? But it's one of those things where a lot of the guys who are typically on the team are playing in their ice hockey seasons. We talked about it when we interviewed him, and I mentioned him a little bit ago. I think Della, obviously he's got a new job and he's probably focusing on his career a little bit too, but I thought he was someone who really, really stood out, was Della Morte. And we talked about it when we interviewed him a while back, like last year, like you're going to be on that team one year. And I think he's probably the one that stood out the most during the tournament because he just scores. The kid, he looks goofy when he skates. He doesn't pick his feet off the ground. He's like that guy, but like the kid scores, and I think the Moonies have made a really good name for themselves. The goaltending one's going to be interesting as well because we had Clay and Keith, who neither of them, well, Clay played in years prior, but kind of made his way back into the mix with things. So Clay and Keith, that's going to be an interesting kind of dynamic with the goaltending situation as well because you had Chinny and Reds before. Now, Reds was always a double eyes guy too. So now that USARS is the kind of the sanctioning body and everything, it's gonna be an interesting logjam in net. And we haven't come up yet with how they're going to be selecting those teams. I think with that team specifically, it's going to be a selection process, or based off of some of the tournaments. But yeah, kind of like a long way around it. I think Dell is kind of the guy that I would like to see continue along that path and keep going because he's young and he's still got plenty of years to play. And the kid just scores. And in those tournaments, smaller nets and everything, scoring is a premium. And that kid put up a lot of points in that tournament.
Dude, he's auto, man. That kid can score from wherever. Yeah, and one thing we are gonna do, we are gonna be having a podcast with some, two big names that are coaches in Team USA. We're just gonna leave it at that because I think it'll be kind of more of a surprise pod, but it is, it's gonna be more one of the a bigger and special pods.
Little
So
teaser, yeah.
yeah, a little teaser there, but I can tell you they're probably one of the we've mentioned. We just probably dropped their names already. But we're gonna bring them on, talk about Team USA and kind of the future as well too, and get their insight and stuff. And I think it's gonna be great insight as well too. I did like what you said about Della. I think he he has a career. I believe he's a police officer now, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so great guy. Support the blue. But yeah, that is hard, having a career now. I'm playing roller hockey and having to get off, decide, hey, I think it's in Italy now. It's in Italy next year in September, or
Yeah,
this year in
Roccarassa.
September.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Roccarassa. Yep.
you got to make, it's a tough decision, but if he could go, I think that is a player that absolutely deserves it as well too.
Yeah.
But one player, you know, I would like to see kind of make his way back on a Team USA, or I would love to see a camp like they did at Double Eyes. They used to do it here in Lakewood, Colorado every year. And it's like, there's
Dude,
if you guys just go on to YouTube and just search Team
they were
USA in
sick,
lag
dude.
camp, you'll see it, and like Yoder, like, yeah, I remember Taylor Kane, like, dude, Joey Dorn was disgusting at one. He was on that team.
Yeah.
There's just so many players that came to this camp and they did a whole like a little debated a little behind the scenes documentary
Yeah, it was
about it, and it was
sweet,
really
dude.
cool.
And they were like battles. Those like
It
scrimmage
was
games were like
insane.
intense.
Yeah, and I love, and I remember, I'm pretty sure Dwyer got invited to
I
that
was
one of
gonna
those
say,
one
yeah.
year. He was, in college, and I think uh that would be really cool to see again. Obviously, it is kind of hard, but without that backing of Double Eyes and the, obviously USA Hockey, but it is something that would be cool to see because there are a lot of players that I think do deserve it. They just need their eyes on it. And I'm just gonna give one, there's this kid, Jake Townsend. The kid is an animal.
Dude.
One of the, obviously
He
it takes a
won.
team,
Yeah.
he's played UMass Lowell, went to Lindenwood, play Lindenwood and Ice, but it would be cool to see a player like that get a chance. Or, just a lot of players that do deserve chances in other areas, even goalie wise for different players as well, too. It'd be to think of those four goalies to have a goaltending battle. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's intense. Like
Wouldn't that be just the coolest thing to watch? And how did so many people would watch that camp,
that would
So
be
I think
sick.
that would be a very interesting thing if they ever did decide to do that, because
Yeah, it would be cool.
I love to see
Dude,
battles, East Coast, West Coast, and obviously you might, if some of the ice players can make it, that would be awesome. One other player, I love his game, Spezia. That would be and I know it is hard with the ice and
yeah.
different timing, but like Spezia was a player that was always on that double eyes. That dude, his speed is insane.
The way he skates is so fluid, man.
Yeah. So,
And it's
um,
to your point, like we talked about it, a while back before the World Games. Like Garrett Ross was a guy that we mentioned all the time. Like that guy deserves to be on the team. And then boom, he gets on the team, not a big deal. But I think the biggest challenge is just going to be the timing because it is in September again. So ice hockey is full go, right? So it's going to be probably more of the pure roller hockey guys. But that's the same thing with think about like Blake Bennett, dude. That kid is another one who just scores, and he
yeah.
just
Oh, dude,
scores.
100%. Like, yeah, and like that would be awesome to see, like get a chance just to be able to see. So, when we
Yeah.
bring on the two guys, talk to them, maybe we can bend their ear about this and see how we can get that to happen because I think that would be
Maybe
pretty cool.
maybe Wells Fargo will sponsor a mini
Yeah,
camp.
Wells
Who
Fargo's
knows
a
that?
sponsor of this pod. So if you don't use Wells Fargo, nothing. Alrighty. So moving on, I think we could talk a little about, like what we want
Oh my god.
Team USA projections. Moving on to the next one on the list. Ding, European roller hockey. Want to talk about the Spain league and the France league. I don't know what's happened to that Italy league. It's kind of just like fallen. I'm really not too sure. I know Wakefield gives, a little bit of info, but I saw
Yeah.
Jakob Benad, our boy. He plays, some games with him. He's playing heavy ice, killing it in ice over there.
Yeah, he is.
I just it's just there's some teams that are just not in it anymore. I know Siggy moved over to Rattel, now
Yeah.
in France as well. So, well, his name's Andrea Delfino. He plays on Verzone now too. He was, from Italy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to like, if any Italian players, any Italy players, if you want to come on the pod and kind of let us know or to, explain what happened or what's going on, we love to hear it because we're kind of, we
In
don't
the
know what
dark.
happened to that
Yeah.
league.
I mean, to your point, like because of what I think it is, I don't want to call it a salary cap, but it's basically like a cap on imports, I guess is
Yeah,
basically
but
what.
one team folded. A whole entire team
Yeah.
just folded, and that was like the best team.
Yeah.
That it
It's
always had like Amac played with them, Siggy played with them, and then the team just was like gone.
gone. Yeah. It's weird. I mean, I was watching, it was Asiago versus Milano a couple weeks ago. And I was watching that game, and there's still good players in there. Like, I can't think of his name off the top of my Joey Strada. He's playing a
Yeah,
Milano.
dude, Joey Strada lights that league up. He's throwing some
Dude,
mishies over
he's like
there,
a
just
little
dancing
rat out
kids.
there, dude. That is like
Yeah,
his game, like over there. Seems like
it's like
perfect for him.
Marshawn of that league, dude.
He
Except
is,
for
dude. He
just a little
looks
more.
like him when he skates too. It's weird.
Yeah,
I was watching that the other day, but I think with all that being said, hopefully we can get some more information about what's going on. But it's only made the league elite like stronger, right? At
dude.
the end of the day, like
And the
those games
Spain
are,
league, dude. The Spain
yeah,
league's let's get into the Spain league first, then we're gonna get
sure.
into the League Elite. Right now in the Spain league, I know our boy Jimmy Teed. He's moved over to CPLV, which is why do I always forget the name of their team? Um, it starts with CPLV. I forgot like the. Why am I an idiot right now? Give me one
It's all
second.
right. We're having brain farts. We're allowed to do that.
Hold on. I don't know why I can't see.
The what the hell are they called? Some with the yeah.
Dude, I am such an idiot right now. I'm even on their page, and I just
Isn't it like the Kaja something or other?
no, it's not. I'm an idiot. Valladolid. That's how stupid I am. He plays for Valladolid now. But they have a great team. I know it's like pretty much basically a lot of the Spain national team and just Spain players in general. But Teed's had a pretty unbelievable season so far. But then you have Molina, and Molina is nasty as well too. With you got Kevin Mooney over there, Chucky Slick. Chucky Slick's been lighting this league up for like 10 years. I feel like I mean, lighting this league up. And they have a great team. They have I think it's a couple Czech player and a Sweden player too. I want to say too
Yeah.
on their team. But they played Valladolid, Teed's team in the championship of Copa del Rey, and they ended up winning in overtime. And those games are so intense and so sick to watch. But the competition in that league it's pretty unreal. But those two top teams, they're just a peak above the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they have some great teamwork, chemistry, whatever you want to call it. I know that Molina. I don't think there's any team closer in Europe than that Molina team. Like
Nah, they're
watching all
they're
their
the
videos
goat.
together every weekend's pretty unreal. It's pretty sick to watch. And then that Valladolid team, they come at you in waves, and then you have Teed and Net, and probably the best goaltender in that league right now.
I was gonna say one of the things, and it goes to kind of what you're saying with Teed, like both of those teams, I know this for a fact, put a lot of work in off the rink. Like all the
Yeah.
Spanish teams in general, they are so in shape, running miles before games and things like that. Like I know from playing against them, like these guys are running like 2 miles before they step on the rink and play like these long games in Europe too, right? They're what, 25-minute halves, I think, or 20-minute halves, something like that. So, these longer games, and these guys put the work in off the rink. You see Teed all the time doing videos, just working on his craft. He's gotten exponentially better over the past several years. Like, him going over there was probably the best thing for his game in general. Being able to be on the rink a lot,
Just
see a
so
lot of
positionally
positionally sound,
sound, and he's
100%.
like he's just it's just like when if you're a young goaltender and you want to watch how to play goalie and you watch Teed
Yeah,
because just the way
especially
he
in
moves.
roller.
Teed, Redmond, him and Redmond probably have like the best, I would say, positionally sound posture in the game.
Yeah,
Obviously
100%.
you have some other great goaltenders, but these two are just like they're just very positionally sound. And I love that about Teed's game. But yeah, those two teams, they're a threat. And I know I think the European Cup, I'm not 100% sure if that's going on this year, but that's when all the top teams from each league go and they play each other. So that would be very interesting
Such
if
a good
those.
idea too, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's so
such an awesome
sick.
idea.
Yeah, so let's move on to the France League, Ligue U Elite. They probably have the best like support of a pro league in the world for like
Yeah.
roller hockey right now. We're just talking about like league. We're not talking about tournaments. But they just put a lot of work into it. Every game's televised, live streamed every single week, very accessible to watch on YouTube. And but then just like, the posting the stats and all those simple things that the players love, they are on top of it 100%. Plays of the game. Our boy Frankie Jirac just like undressing players out there. Ugh, I don't even know what the hell that
Dude,
kid's on out there.
they're having a time off the rink too. Like,
Dude,
I
what
don't know
did
if you
Joey
see this.
DiMartino and
What was that?
Jansko? Yeah, you guys are on the Titanic together,
The
boys.
Titanic thing. I was
We're
literally
you're
just
gonna
gonna
have to
say.
come on the pod and explain that. Hey, I like
I
it.
don't get it. We have Joey D on, and he's always so like humble and quiet. And then I
Yeah.
got that video. I'm like, what the heck?
And
What's
he's
going on here? He's like holding them up. Like, I thought that was hilarious. I like had to go back. I was like clicking through. I was like stopped, and I like went back. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
dude. So one thing I do want to say about that team in particular is, and you see it in Molina's team, is that team bonding. Dude, that
Huge.
team that team's a wagon right now, Verzone. Verzone is a
Yeah,
wagon. Granted, they have a pretty phenomenal team. With Zach Pedersen from Sweden, the
right.
Czech goalie Mata, David Jansko, Joey DiMartino, Frankie Girat. Like and then that Andre Delfino dude. Like they have a deep, deep team. And they have Jan Virola from Czech. Deep team. All those players at the top of the head. So then you also have Villanova, which, Austin Cost from America, Robbie Ballinger from America.
Yeah.
And then that's where Martin Fiala's playing now too from Czech. And then you have Carl Gablet, one of the
Just like,
one of the best
yeah.
players in that league. And, probably I don't think he's playing for Team France, but the probably one of the best players in France history. Other than I think Julian Thomas is, a lot of people say he's, one as well too, but Carl Gab just plays
He's
the
like
game.
their leader too, man. He's like
Yeah.
just such their
Um,
like their heartbeat of that French
and then you look
national
in
team.
that Brabic. I mean, the kid is just talk about positionally sound. That's
Yeah,
another
he's
goal.
another one.
Very fun goalie to watch. And I love the Euro style, the Czech style way he plays. And so that team is a wagon too. And then you go to Rattel. I mean, they add Sigmund. They already have their kind of their Czech core. They're just nasty. And that league when those watching those teams play, it's truly special. So I
Yeah.
think that France league right now is a very, one of the top leagues, but they also just have so much skill on every team.
Yeah, when you look at it, really like the top five teams are all pretty close to each other, basically ranging from like 20 points to 27 points in like the standings,
Yeah.
which I mean, really anybody could beat anybody. And with Rattel, like it's gonna be interesting if Arizona like and Rattel ever come against each other and like down the road in playoffs and stuff. Like you had Johnsko who was on Rattel last year, now on Verzone. So a little bit of a cool little I don't want to say rivalry, right? But a
Dude, he
little bit
loves
of
taking pictures with the like at the end of the game with the teams he
with
played with. I love it. I'm like,
everything, dude. He loves it. He's like an international Hungarian star over there.
oh yeah, dude, he's like 6'8", like
Just
horse.
mohawking.
Yeah. Yeah, and even like Berger, he's over there. Nick Berger, he's playing for Epernay.
Yep.
And then Con, they're a great team too. I know they have a couple players from
Yeah.
the team France on that team. So they just It's a very good league. I know they have the Copa de France going on right now too. So that's where in one, in two, League U Elite, it starts like I think it's like a 32 team like kind of bracket that starts, but then it
Yeah,
starts
it's
narrowing down.
huge.
Yeah, and now I think it's the final four. And I believe it's
Yeah,
Rizone, Ratel, Villanova, and one other team. I'm probably
Rouen,
who?
Rouen, Rouen.
Rion.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they're an N1. So and there's a
yep, they
lot of
are.
players from America that plays over in the N1 league as well too, which
Oh
is
yeah,
the goes League U Elite and then N1. A lot of those players go over there, and when they play in that league, they're helping that team to advance into the League U Elite, and the
which is
talent is
awesome. The
still,
relegation system.
yeah, talent's still great. I know Little Mooney and Kyle Sharkey, they're over there. Lane
Yeah,
Hartwell's over there. So yeah, you have so many people playing over there in that France league, which is sick.
yeah. It's. I mean, it's nice because like it's funny, I guess you would say, because you do have guys who play pro over here playing in the N1 over there. So it's kind of cool like that. They really are a huge help to getting those N1 teams up to the league elite. So it's kind of a cool system. I wish there was something a little like that here with like, we have Paiha and stuff, but like there's really it's just like enter your team at what division you feel you fit in, right?
Yeah.
And it's like not that it's not motivation. Obviously, anytime you step on the rink, you want to win a game and do the best you can. But like, it would be cool to have a little bit of a system where teams do have to move up and try it. And if you get spanked, then you go back down, whatever it is, right? So, but I feel like a lot of we talked about it before. There's probably so many teams and stuff that could maybe hop up a division, whether it's men's gold to men's plat to pro, whatever it is. There's probably teams that could do it. They just don't. Like at the
Yeah.
end of the
I
day, this
mean,
kind of forces the issue.
yeah.
So.
So, but yeah, those two leagues I always love paying attention to. So definitely,
And
if you
what's
want to
going
check
on
it
with the
out,
Italian
check.
league? Someone tell
Yeah,
us, please.
yeah. Tell us what happened to the Italian league, but you can all check it out on YouTube. If you just search League U Elite Roller Hockey, go onto their page. You can check it out every week. So, which is really cool. Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. Um, Here we go. We Winter Wars.
Quiz.
Winter Wars coming up in a couple weeks here. Um, some East Coast teams going out there to the Winter Wars, but Winter Wars they do Winter Wars West and then Winter Wars East. So
Yeah.
they go on both coasts. And I always know like there's a group of players. I think it's like Dino's team, like Will Talk's team. They
Yeah.
always go out to Winter Wars West,
Yeah.
which is always cool. So I know you have a couple teams from the East Coast going out there, but primarily morely of a heavy based West Coast tournament, which is usually typically for what this tournament is. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. I believe it's like President's Day weekend.
Yeah, it is. I just had it up actually. Didn't mean to exit it, but yeah, March or no, that's the East one. Sorry. Botched that one. But February 23rd to the 25th.
Oh yeah. So
So
that'll be a Winter Wars West is always fun. Great tournament, just like Winter Nationals. So
you always see, which is cool. Like I think this is special about California roller in general. The senior A, senior double A divisions are always gigantic, right? Which I know is I remember last year, right? Where was it 2 years ago? Someone took the video of Greg trying to figure out the senior A. Was it you took the video?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
that
a
was
50, there's a
crazy.
64 team like bracket at
Yeah.
State Wars, and we're like that's when I was working with State Wars, and it was like 1 in the morning, and I have the video of all the guys there,
All
like just
boozing.
watching it, and they're
Yeah.
hammered, and they're just like trying to figure out what everyone makes playoffs. It just depends if you're 1 through 31 in Senior B or 1 through 31 in Senior A.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the first seed in Senior B or Senior A lost to the last seed. I'm
That's
pretty sure.
crazy.
But yeah, it was just the craziest thing. But like to your point,
Those
what you're
divisions are
probably gonna
huge.
say, yeah, the divisions are the heartbeat like of
Yeah,
that.
they are. They really are. Like you look at it, there's like, I'm not going to count it, but there's like 20 plus teams in senior A, B. So first you got to give credit to like the guys like Greg, Darren, Tim, all these guys that are figuring out these standings and trying to like kind of manipulate it because the thing is like a lot of the times like your tiebreakers and stuff for the tournament don't always match what's on like Hockey Shift, which is the website. So you do kind of have to use the board, right? I've learned
Yeah.
that just like helping out. You have to use that board because there it might go past a couple of the tiebreakers that you have. So it's always funny like watching that. And even the double A division, there's like 12, 15 teams in it too. So pretty big tournament, the pro divisions, 4 teams. So you got your, usual suspects, Conics, Outcasts, who've been playing pro, regardless, right, of who they have. They always
Yeah.
try to get a pro team together. You got the Golden Knights, you got Skittles, and you got the OC Blades,
Well,
who
that's
really
interesting
got a
now,
great
though.
going in
So,
tour.
like with that Connex Outcast team, I know Mooney would play with that team a lot too. And now he's playing with
Yeah,
Palma. So,
yeah,
that it's a huge
it does.
loss. It's a
Yeah,
huge loss. But hopefully, like, Marvin, I'm not, depending on what team he's
he
playing
did
with,
OC Blades. Yeah, he was
it
doing OC Blades.
I'm sure he would be on that team. But is OC Blades in the Winter
Yeah,
Warriors?
they're
Yeah.
they're in there. So I think basically what it came down
I
to is you have,
love the OC Blades name is back, dude. I used to
dude,
I
their
love that name.
their unis are kind of sick too. They're just like
Yeah.
kind of blacked
I
out,
just
but they're
love
pretty
OC
cute.
Blades now. I think it's one of the sickest names in roller hockey. Like it's
Yeah, I
just so
think
pure roller, like OC
perfect.
Blades.
It's a throwback and it's like just it is perfect. Like it
Yeah.
is the most roller hockey thing. But like the Connex Outcast guys, they had the Tui brothers all played. They had a couple of the local Cali guys like Travis Meyer, a couple other of those guys too, Bryce Nielsen. So they have their like core group. Always Greg Hughes is always an Outcast guy as well. So he's a huge supporter of us. We
Sneaky
always love him.
nasty.
Yeah, he's got some filthy hands. He actually ripped a muffin at my chest at Narch, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting because it is a smaller division, so every game's gonna pretty much be a playoff game, right? So at the end of the day, you're really playing for that seeding, and then the women's division is going to be split. So you're going to have a double A and a single A. So look, they'll probably split it, I guess, like 3-3, or maybe just have like a consolation for the bottom two. I'm not sure how they're going to work that out, but overall, I mean, the youth division is big as always. So that's kind of what we need is that youth hockey to continue to grow and continue to be big so that these other divisions can continue to be strong as well. Just like we talked about the senior men, it doesn't matter what level you're playing, as long as you're playing. I think
Yeah.
ultimately that's all we care about, right? And I think you can attest to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think we've rambled on a lot about some roller. We're gonna be back next week. We got a couple pods we're gonna be coming, and like I said earlier, we're gonna be doing, we're gonna try to do it weekly. If not, it will be bi-weekly, every single week. But yeah, we're committed. We're gonna bring you guys the roller content you guys deserve. So we'll be back. We got a couple bangers coming. Anth, anything else?
Nah, Ted, I'm just hoping that what we have planned for next week, I'm hoping we can, I'm not going to spoil it, but I hope we can get the guy on because I think there's a bit of a story and everything that I think would just be
Yeah, some
awesome.
people made some of the news in a different
Yeah.
country that we want to, if they can talk on it, it'd be funny.
We
But if
need
not,
clarity. We need some serious clarity on it.
yeah.
So I think if we can
It-
get it together, that'll be great.
yeah, and if you've made it this far in the pod still, true supporter, true supporter, true
Kudos to
supporter.
you.
There we go. Kudos to you. All right, we'll be back with the pod.
All
Have
right,
a good one,
boys.
boys.
See you.